What's on your mind, darling?
You suddenly hear something in the distance, a strange but familiar tune. Sebille freezes. You recognize it as her Scar song. The master is near.
A moment, years in the making. Soon, I will have my vengeance.
She gives you a quick kiss on the cheek.
Sing the song when I signal you, and wish me good luck.
One step, then another, ever closer. You can tell from her bearing, Sebille has never been so ready to kill, so on the brink of impending action. She's like a cat, all concentrated muscle, that split second before it pounces. Another step, ever closer. The moment has finally come. She's found the master. The eyes of predators meet.
Sebille?
He snaps his fingers, and she involuntarily snaps to attention.
Here you go, breaking my heart.
That's the plan, mastermind.
He sighs, sadly.
I don't begrudge you your freedom, Sebille. Your escape relieved me of having to witness your death by your own hand. The inevitable last command. I would have watched you, like I have all this time, glad to see you live, sometimes even laugh. I'm very fond of you, you know?
The feeling's not quite mutual.
Not yet.
Another snap, different fingers, different sound. She looks to the ground. She's bowing before him.
Utter control. The tool of a tyrant, you think? But you're mistaken. Let me indulge you with an explanation. Everything I do for a much greater good. The supreme example of this is you, Sebille. She's the prime scion. It had to be her. The other scions knew and welcomed her. They sought out their own killer. It was all so very elegant. What I did had to be done, Sebille, and I had to be the orchestrator. For I am the House of Shadows. I am the Fate Weaver. I am the hand that guides a blind world. Even yours, Red Prince.
Sebille slowly draws her needle.
Time to get to the point.
My, you still have the needle I gave you. How very gratifying. A fine instrument, is it not? Precise, exact. Just like me. Just like you. You should know that I forced you to shed the blood of scions because rather than a killer, it transformed you into a savior of untold millions. Here's the final truth, Sebille. The true evil here is not me. It's you. The Mother Tree and her scions do not seek to carve out their own part of peace in this world. They seek to carve out the whole wide world for themselves. They want their roots to conquer every last inch of Rivellon. World domination. The prevalence of one race over all others. That is what they desire. That is what I counteract.
Finally figured that out, did you?
But there is merit to my madness. Can you say the same of your mania? I don't begrudge you your freedom, Sebille, but you came looking for me driven by no more than ordinary bloodlust. All you see is red. You've lost sight of all reason. You know how the scar works. You know I have but to sing a single tune. You've no hope whatsoever of defeating your master.
He sings. The scar song swells, 1,000 tiny needles in Sebille's soul, chipping away at her will. She looks at you with hope and defiance, gives the signal. You must sing the song. Your voice harmonizes with the Master's. Stunned, he hesitates, and yours becomes the dominant melody. Sebille is free from his influence.
Dear me, you're a miracle worker. I'll take it from here.
The patient cat finally pounces. She strikes, precisely, exactly. Her needle pierces his neck, spears his vocal cords, filling his throat with blood. Checkmated and muted, he staggers back, all a feared fury. This is it. It's time to kill the Master.
nearby. something nearby.
The monster's dead. Finally, I am free. Glory is mine. It feels magnificent, if somewhat unreal. But first things first.
You look on as Sebille bares her arm and drags her needle across the word master, like a knife, drowning the black ink in blood. With a few ripples of sauce, the wound closes, leaving behind but new scar tissue that effaces all trace of the hated word that was.
Thank you. You're such a sweetheart.
She laughs. Her cat eyes dance with mirth.
Now, it's over.
You kiss, very tenderly. Next, she takes your hand in hers, meets your eyes in earnest.
I just can't thank you enough. I could never have defeated the Master without you. I owe you everything. Perhaps I do, for nothing compares to being free.
She places a hand over the fresh scar on her arm.
I've known the opposite too long to want to spend another day hollow with hate, another night hollow with loneliness. I most certainly can, if you show me a little love.
You kiss her on the cheek, and she laughs, full of life.
Now that the Master's dead, might as well pursue Divinity, I say.
I said, this ain't right. This ain't how it's supposed to be. This ain't the promise.
Lucky find.
Must fall. The elven tree must fall. The elven tree must fall. He fears it. He fears the elves. The elven tree must fall. The elven tree...
The Shadow Prince's spirit snarls at you, claws at you, but his spectral nails move harmlessly through your body. His fading eyes go wide with such abject fear, it is terrible to behold. And how very wonderful that feels. You are the Shadow Prince, master of the House of Shadows. A born rascal, you have spent many a long year honing your abilities. You have a rare skill with a knife in your hand, and you have taken that skill to heart.
This is not quite the safest place I've ever been.
We'd better find a way inside before it all goes up in smoke. And us with it.
Countless symbols cover the stone tablet's surface, forging a riddle between several languages. You make out one ruined line. The champion must offer a burning stone to the dragon's mouth. You recall this stone to be the gem of the desert. Outside the Empire, it is known as a mere fire rune, and such an offering must be placed in the dragon's mouth. You place the offering deep inside the dragon's mouth. Something in the dark seizes your wrist. The grip tightens to sheer agony. Cold metal presses against you to soothe the ache. When you reach for it, your fingers catch on a pair of greaves. As you pull the armor free, the bitterness of betrayal cuts through you. Ash clouds the room, hot as a forge. You stand high on a black cliff housing Zorl-Stissa's temple. Other lizards scream, declaring you a blasphemer.
I see you. And inside you is the strength I've been looking for. Patience. You must prove yourself worthy of such answers. You must find the temple where the Devourer's loyal servant was abandoned. I will draw strength from there to speak again.
The vision fades. The cave's sharp chill returns, and with it, a cold aura takes shape behind you. Between the symbols is a remarkably simple answer. A burning stone, a root... The spirit before you drips sauce from his raggedly slit throat. Realizing that you can see him, he throws a wry smile in your direction.
Ah, Godwoken. You know how you relive bad exams in your nightmares? Good news, you get to relive them in death, too.
He rolls his neck, sauce gurgling and spouting from the deep gash. He laughs, and his laugh is a bitter one.
As I was facing the trials, I was killed by another Godwoken hopeful. He's long gone now, but I'm still here. I just can't stop thinking about it. That one answer, the one I couldn't get in time. Anon Fallon Reveil. Anon Fallon Reveil. What in the void comes next?
His face lights up, gratitude shining forth from it.
That's it! That's it!
He begins to fade from view, but as he disintegrates, he traces an esoteric sigil in the air between you and pushes forceful energy into you, restoring you. A lizard stares at you with open delight. His torn garb resembles that of a priest.
I welcome you, honored one. Be at peace, for your day has come. Do not hesitate. The ritual is prepared for you at the proper place. My master awaits. The master of us all. We serve the Devourer in his infinite grace and hunger. Join the master at the temple of the false goddess, Zorl-Stissa. We cannot leave him waiting.
The ancient temple of Zorl-Stissa crowns the cliff. Loathsome place. A fragment of memory. Followers of the false goddess betrayed you here. You preached the Devourer's blessings. He would bring them to greatness. Searing pain. A stone hits your shoulder. A sharp crack. Another glances off your skull. Your world turns red.
Ah, the fanatical soul. Hunted by Zorl-Stissa's followers, he fled back to the Outlaw Empress with the Devourer's words on his lips.
Clouds of ash batter you, and flames lap at your feet, but you stand strong. It's all a trick of the mind.
What point is there in resisting the truth? When I speak, eternity answers. The Devourer's legacy is your fate. Turn away, and I will crumble you to ash. Now go to the greatest mortal city. The last 2 pieces of the armor rest there. One hides in an enclave of the lizards. The other is locked away by a man named Kem. Do not disappoint me.
The vision fades, but your sense of unease does not. Something watches you, cold as death. A lizard spirit bows deep before you.
May the Devourer bless your endeavors, champion of the dragon.
The spirit's tail flickers in unabashed delight.
A champion is true power unshackled. I am here to serve said power, as I served the first champion, the Outlaw Empress. Her legacy was recovering the Devourer's sacred bones. Yours will be conquering the world, clad in his armor. The spirits bound to each piece shall shepherd your ascension. Restore it by devouring our souls, and you will be unmatched.
Don't listen to that snake mouth. We're not shepherds. We're trapped.
Only the weak fear such a glorious destiny. The champion surpasses all weakness, for they are blessed by the dragon. For years I was foolish. I served Zorl-Stissa, but she was a silent deceiver. Until I met the Outlaw Empress, I was lost. The Empress saw I was truly faithful, but preaching a false prophet. She led me to the Devourer, to the endless voice of the dragon. The Devourer is true divinity. He always listens, always guides, and I was his chosen preacher, a voice to the masses.
The Devourer doomed us, and the Empress reveled in cruelty.
Harsh task, mistress, if there ever was one. I should never have taken her gold.
Silence! The Outlaw Empress was the Devourer's first chosen, and you shall not defile her memory. Yet the enemies of the Devourer are many. When I spoke the truth, we were forced into hiding, awaiting his rebirth. Release? What purpose would that serve? We are bound to this armor in the Devourer's name. As you eat our souls one by one, the dragon's magnificence will be unleashed. We will be unified in flesh and steel.
The dwarf smiles.
Need some chatter to pass the time, friend?
What's this? I found something.
A saltwater crocodile looks around, seemingly disoriented. It spots you.
Where'd the water go? Why does my head hurt so much?
The crocodile glowers at you blearily.
That only works with alligators. Now leave me alone. Ugh.
Looks like this place gave the Black Ring a bloody nose. Best be careful ahead. If I'm to understand this correctly, it reads, walk safely in Vrogir's path. If I understand this correctly...
I can't make heads nor tails of this.
Walk safely in Vrogir's path.
If I understand this correctly, it reads, walk safely in Vrogir's path.
The spirit of a Black Ring Defiler frantically drags something, or someone, backwards with both hands. He glances around for help as he retreats. Something beneath his heel clicks.
Help! Somebody douse the flame! Douse the floor!
A spectral arrow suddenly lodges itself between his eyes with a hollow thwack. His face turns slack and confused before he collapses backwards in a heap.
I found something.
Priestess, an orc priestess. She's an imposing warrior monk, but gripped with terror as she gazes upon something looming over her from across the hall. She staggers back a few steps. An echoing roar fills your ears, rushing water. The priestess turns to flee, but is suddenly blasted off her feet by an immense, unseen force. Kneeling before the altar is the spirit of another orc, a priest. He produces an ornate dagger and slices open the palm of his hand. Around him, the sound of rushing water grows.
Vrogir, I am your servant to my last breath.
He daubs the altar with his spectral blood and bows. The roar of water intensifies. He is suddenly swept forward. His skull hits the altar with a crunch. The grim drip, drip, drip of floodwater and the bloated body at your feet make this place feel more like a defiled tomb than a temple. Nevertheless, you approach the altar. Your vision clouds, and you open your eyes to a dark glade. Before you lies a bull, trapped beneath a fallen tree. It stares at you with malevolent eyes. As you watch, it transforms to a bear, claws digging into the earth as it struggles to dislodge the log. You blink, and it turns again. A gorilla now. It's vaulted back, pushing hard against the wood. After a few more minutes' struggle, it slumps to the ground, defeated, and its contemptuous eyes return to you.
Strength! Give me your vigor!
You feel your god slip out of your body and skitter across the ground to Vrogir. As you watch, ants start to pour out of the tree's trunk, scurrying towards the ape. As the insects flow over the gorilla, it starts to thrash in panic. It screams in pain as the ants start to bite every piece of exposed flesh. Blood starts to match his fur, and Vrogir glows with an inner light. He grows brighter and brighter until his body bursts into bright yellow flames, burning the ants away. The blinding force of the flames pushes you back, driving you away from the glade, away from the vision, and away from the altar. You slowly return to your senses, the smell of damp death filling your nostrils. You see that a crude sun pictograph has been hacked into the altar's rock. The altar sits before you, defiantly silent. You see the image of a sun crude...
Vrogir's culture was so focused on brutality and violence, yet they write so beautifully on it.
I can't make heads nor tails of this.
An ancient-looking lever stands before you. It's still damp from the recently receded floodwaters. Your closer scrutiny yields nothing further. It's just an old lever by the look of it. The lever groans in protest, but cannot resist you. It creaks back towards you. A deep rumble heralds the wall beyond sliding downwards, a hidden door. The spirit of another orc stands before you, but this one is formidably armored and extraordinarily angry.
Dogs, skulking vermin, cowards.
He hurls the warhammer away with a final yell, before turning to you with a deep scowl, panting for breath that he no longer needs.
Godwoken, you're here. Did you kill the Black Ring runts who defiled Vrogir's temple, who flooded this sacred temple, rather than test me in battle? Good. Heretics deserve only death. This temple was a fortress. My traps made it untouchable, unpassable. That weasel, that sad old man, he responded not with strength, but with soggy cowardice, and made me look the fool. Face me, you milk-livered mouse! The world grew too civilized for us. No plunder, no glory, nothing to make our hearts quicken. My people left you to your cities and farms and soft beds. They went far, in search of a place where they could be alive. But I am a knight of Vrogir. I stand vigil. I do not know what became of them.
Put some space between us and this lunatic!
spirit of a black-winged witch flails and writhes on the floor, engulfed by ghostly flames. An unseen force hauls her backwards, as if to bring her to safety. The faint sound of an arrow being loosed echoes through the hall. Whatever force has been dragging the witch abruptly stops. She goes limp. The flames consume her.
If I'm to understand this correctly,